Yeah. Good morning. I want to be mad right now because of what happened last night, but I got to get through this first part of the show this morning, seeing Big Zoo dressed up as Santa Claus, and of course our very own Anthony Gallo is an elf. So I'm going to have to deal with this. You're going to have to deal with this. The audience is going to have to deal with these distractions. But I have to tell you. I have to tell you, that was horrendous performance last night. Horrendous. I mean, so Zach Wilson, first pass, it's a blitz by Andre Sisco. He's the safety of the Jaguars. He comes right down into the box, does the same thing that the Lions did to him 5 days earlier on Sunday. And this result was the result against the Lions was like he threw it into the ground. This one was like he had no awareness whatsoever. And that's the moment I said, this is not going to go well for him tonight. Because if he gets hit by that blitz, which is about as basic a blitz and is about as basic a thing that you see in this league, and you can have no awareness that guy is coming, and I'm on a text thread with a bunch of Jet fans and other people that, are in my life and everything else like that. And I'm like saying, I immediately put out there, I said, this is not the way you want to start a game, especially if you're Zach Wilson, because this shows me that he hasn't learned anything. He's not ready for this. He has no awareness in the pocket. Everything that a quarterback is supposed to bring to a team, belief, life, spirit, confidence. He sucks it completely out of the team, and the team looks that way. Now, look, they started with Quinnen Williams sacking Trevor Lawrence.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
And it was unbelievable. So Quinnen's back. He gets a sack. He gets a fumble. They get a short field. And on third down, well, first of all, the first play of the game, I know what Mike LaFleur was doing. Let's run Zach Wilson. Let's let him get hit, and let's see if that's going to calm him down and get him into the game. But let's do it immediately, and let's get it out of the way. And then 2 plays later, he gets sacked without even seeing Sisco come. I'm like, there's no way in the world that this kid is ready for this now. And I have now seen the light. I have totally seen the light. I want to be as patient. I want to be as understanding. I want the kid to do well, but he has no business being on an NFL field. No business.
And this is what I was saying when Mike White got hurt and we were talking about who was going to come in and play quarterback. And I said it was just 3 weeks ago that he had no shot to be a starter in this league. Just 3 weeks ago, we're talking about fundamentally footwork, can't make a throw, can't make a short throw, can't make a long throw, makes some of the worst interceptions we've ever seen, throws the worst interception we've ever seen in our lives. Just 3 weeks ago. So now you're going to tell me 3 weeks of practice of him throwing against nobody, he's going to come back in and have learned anything?
All right, but here's the thing.
Horrible. And he sucks the life out of the team, by the way. And I'm sorry. I know that the defense was bad last night. I know the coaching was bad last night. Him at quarterback sucks the life out of everybody. There's no energy at all.
I kind of feel like if they would have scored on that first series and he doesn't get hit with the blitz and doesn't get knocked out the way he gets knocked around, I'm thinking maybe they're going to bring the life to the stadium. There's going to be life in the team, but the team plays like it doesn't believe in its quarterback. And now I know this has been going on. No, we're all aware of it. We've all seen it. I've come in here after the first New England game and roasted him. I came in here after the Denver game and roasted him. I tried to explain the difficult position that Rob Saleh is in and Joe Douglas is in, because this is a second overall pick. And the disparity between the first overall pick and the second overall pick was right there on display for all of us to see last night. And it is stark. And I think I give Kirk Herbstreit credit for this, because they showed a shot of Trevor Lawrence on the sideline of the Jaguars. And he was going up and down the bench, talking to his teammates and everything else. And look at what's going on here. This is a leadership. This is a great team. You can see this team is coming together. This team is on the rise, blah, 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 blah. He's saying all those things. And he's pointing to Trevor Lawrence. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how you have to be. Then they show the other side. And Kirk says, just in Kirk manner-of-fact way, because he doesn't want to insult anybody or hurt anybody's feelings, That's not exactly what's going on the Jet sideline, and they have this shot of Zach sitting there by himself.
Well, because they hate him.
Well,
I mean, I know that he's 22. I know all the things that you were saying, 23, whatever he is now, and you feel bad just completely putting him through the meat grinder every single day because it's tough. It's difficult. He was thrown in a horrendous situation, and it's very, very hard to succeed, especially on that team in this city and everything that we talk about. But they can't stand him for a reason. They don't like his personality. He is not a leader. He had to be forced into taking accountability. He's buying these guys scooters like he's Peyton Manning in his 10th year. He's running around giving JetBlue vouchers out to the team, trying to make up for him being a guy that is hated in the locker room. And when he gets out there and he plays, he gives the team absolutely no shot to win. Now, I could make a case that this was the worst performance that he had out of all of them because this defense is awful. They're 28th ranked in the league. The Cowboys put up a skazillion yards against them just a few days ago, and he and this offense scored 3 minutes and 19 seconds into the game and then never got close. He didn't even get to 100 yards passing. They got like 6 yards of rushing. I think this was the worst offensive performance they've had the entire year, even more so than the New England game in Foxborough, because that defense was good.
And you know what? It's going to cost coaches jobs. It's going to cost. It's just going to send reverberations through the freaking, through the organization. The other thing, fans have to know that their head coach is in a really tough position, and whatever he says, don't buy into it like it's gospel. What he's trying to do is just trying to manage this team through the end of the year, and then when they get to the end of the year, all the decisions will be made then. It is really highly unlikely, at least in my eyes now, especially after what I saw last night, and then you combine that with all the other things that have gone on here with Zach, that this kid is just not – he cannot play here. He can't. The fans have completely turned on him. This is like Edwin Diaz was for the Mets. But Edwin was, he had success. He had already been there. Everybody thought he was already one of the better closers in the league. So he had an anomaly or an aberration of a year and then came back and now signs this huge contract. This kid here may not do that, but I don't see how he can do that. He may be able to do it somewhere else, somewhere where there's a different coaching staff, a different way of doing things. But all I know is that immediately after this game last night, again, these players go to their phones. On the phones, they see all the different social media aspects of what's going out there, whether you put something out or I put something out or other people in their lives put something out, people that are texting them, and it is gone. It is over. It is done. Now, like I said, I'll listen to Rob Saleh and I'll take everything that he says with a grain of salt because he's not going to come out and say what you want to hear. He's going to try to keep the team together. He's going to try to do everything that a coach does in a situation like this. We're the conduits for the fans to get the anger off of their chest watching this last night. And I'm telling you, if the offense scores a touchdown on the first series and there's some semblance where they could actually move the ball up and down the field, then I think the defense is going to play a lot better. And you're right. He sucked the life completely out of this team last night. And the difference was stark when Streveler came in.
Oh, sure. But here's the big problem I have with that, too, is you saw the offense that they were running with Streveler. He's running the ball every time.
That's who he is.
Right, exactly. But when you're down by 2 scores and you're going to run that offense where most of it is running the football, then you better put that guy in at the start of the second half to give you more time because you're not putting in a guy who's throwing the ball down the field so you could save time to score points.
Well, damn, Corey Davis could have helped them.
Well, that's true, but they ended up still getting the first down on the 4th down, and then he threw a terrible pass on the next set of downs on 4th down, and that was the end of that because he can't throw the ball. But, of course, he gave them life and the fans life and everything. It's just amazing when he comes out of the game, the energy everywhere just lifts up. Now, I understand that Mike White lost 2 games in this losing streak that the Jets have had, but he went to a team on the road, a team that's 11-3, and they lost a game that they basically could have won if Braxton Berrios doesn't drop that pass in the end zone. Then they went up to Buffalo, a team that's the favorite to win the Super Bowl, and he got killed and the team hung in there, but still, that's a very tough spot. But when you come home with the season on the line against two teams that are in the bottom third defensively in the league and have been that way the entire year.
The Lions and the Jags.
The Lions and the Jaguars, and have this type of offensive performance and this type of quarterback play, it's completely unacceptable. And that's why the fans are nuts, because this team is supposed to be good. This team should be in the playoffs this year.
Who has to be, in your estimation, you played offensive line back in the day.
A long time ago.
You've had your hand in the dirt, but and realistically, you're a huge fan. You're a huge football fan. You love football. You've watched it your entire life, and you're into it. So you're allowed to have opinions.
Oh, thank you.
And what I mean is that your opinions aren't based just like in emotional, like sewer pit. You are, and you're not a fan of the Jets, and you're not a fan of the Giants. But for our jobs, we want them to be relevant. We want them to be playing well and things of that nature. Who has to be, by far, the most competitive guy on the team?
C.J. Mosley is up there for sure.
But I'm just saying, in general, for
the quarterback. Yeah, I thought you meant the Jets. I thought you meant who was the most competitive guy for the Jets.
No, I mean,
the quarterback always.
You have to be the biggest. You got to be the biggest PIA pain in the ass. You got to be holding everybody accountable. You got to be. You just got to. You got to. You just got to make everybody believe that you can win. And it's so frustrating watching him and watching from the body language to the bad decision-making to being unable to read defenses, the inaccuracies. I mean, there's all of the attributes that he has displayed. And really, last night in the game against New England, the second game against New England, those attributes that he has displayed don't warrant him the ability to put the uniform on and go out there and play. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. It's just completely. They had no chance last night, and it started from the first drop back pass when he gets hit and sacked, and he has no idea what's going on.
Let me tell you something too. Rob Saleh's not doing this team any favors either. These last two games, to me, he has been horrendous. This team from the get-go was completely unprepared to win that game. When you know you are hamstrung at the quarterback position and you come out and you have that type of game plan and you can't run the football and you're trusting Zach Wilson to throw the ball and win you the game because you think somehow this is going to be his moment and his breakout moment, you're absolutely nuts. I mean, Doug Peterson. So, all right, going into this game, this is just a little, coaching thing. Going into this game, Cam Robinson, their left tackle, is out. All right? Out. Their best offensive lineman. The Jets have a great defense. They've had a great pass rush. So what did we see in the beginning of this game over and over and over again? Two things: runs up the middle and Trevor Lawrence getting the ball out quick. How many of those, boom, right down the line of scrimmage, four blockers in front of Travis Etienne or a wide receiver or Christian Kirk, bang. I mean, he took a step back, Trevor Lawrence, boom, 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 ball out of his hand. Because they knew with this great defense, they weren't going to have time, they made an adjustment. So that's why I said in the beginning, Doug Peterson was running circles around Rob Saleh, and we factor in, we know the time management thing from Sunday, but everybody watching that game knew that Zach Wilson could not come out for the third quarter. And Rob Saleh was the one guy who thought he should. And that, to me, was a major, major problem.
I'm just telling you, it's not that easy for the coach. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it should be at this point. The playoffs are on the line. Your season was on the line.
Look, I tweeted at halftime that the quarterback should be benched and change should be made. I said that.
Yeah.
And I tweeted it out there. And when he came out and he started Zach Wilson, I just think about the NFL. I think about the way coaches are with players and the way that they deal with things and everything else. And I'm sure Rob was also frustrated with his own defense because he's a defensive coach.
Yeah. Watching
Trevor Lawrence running all over the place.
96-yard drive.
Right. And that is like, you finally got Brandon Mann punting right and putting your defense in a good situation, and they just got drilled. They just got hammered right down the field. Boom, 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 boom. But again, I still go back that they started the game, they got out there, they get the sack, and then all of a sudden, here comes the offense, 3 plays and a field goal. And the third play was that sack. And that sack came without any awareness from the quarterback whatsoever, and it was the same blitz that he almost got hit with last week. I mean, so there's obviously the moment he got hit and the moment he got drilled And the way that he was walking off the field, I'm like, oh, man, this ain't going to go good.
Yeah, and the offensive line was brutal last night. There's no two ways about it. But, I mean, there's just a different feel when he is in the game. It's just weird.
Right, when they put Streveler in the game.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden the offensive line started looking decent.
Sure. I mean,
you know why? Because they believed in the guy behind him that he's going to actually do something.
Exactly. I mean, Zach Wilson is an energy vampire. He just sucks the living, breathing atoms out of every single player on that team. I mean, they can't stand him. They don't believe he can do it. There's no trust. There's no belief. And they act like it. The whole team, including the defense.
Yeah, you know, it's he had Corey Davis. He threw it short. He had Garrett Wilson over the middle, threw it over his head or threw it somewhere. It's just there's a chance where he has a chance to run for a first down and he decides not to run for the first down. I mean, the decision making, the flow of the game, and anything that he has to offer the team is basically lost. Quite frankly, so now the question is, what do you do for the next 2 games? Well, number one, if Mike White is healthy, then he plays against Seattle in 10 days. If he's not healthy, I am not putting Zach Wilson back on that field. The team is telling you all you need to know. And maybe you convene with your leadership council or whatever, and you sit there and you talk to them and you openly ask them, what's going on, what's the problems. Maybe they know the problems. I'm not sure. I'm not over there. But all I can tell you is that, I would think from the owner all the way down to, the custodian over there in Florham Park have no belief that their quarterback can do anything. And quite frankly, I would just give, the team off this whole weekend, which I think they get anyway because of the CBA, and just say, get out of here. And Zach Wilson go back to Utah for a weekend and go find some solace by going home and then realizing that his time here is coming to an end pretty quickly.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.